Buddy, this is Around, a community for decision makers from software startups, those striving to raise a Series A or have already raised it. And we are also open to those people who are sufficiently bootstrapped, as otherwise I'd be not including myself. So just to introduce everybody, just for sake of time, I want to jump into these next steps where everyone comes in and introduces themselves. Just due to the tardy start, what I want to do is, Almog, just you and I focus on one another. We'll make this a bit of a discussion. And so we'll get everybody a chance to, you and I, the chance to introduce myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 2 bites of the apple. I'll introduce myself as if we're going to include other people. Introduce myself, pass it over to you for an introduction, who you are, kind of market it, and then let's go into this solve session. A solve session is one business problem or goal that we discuss openly and have 5 minutes to kind of talk about it. That's you. 5 minutes for clarifying questions and answers. That'll be you and I. And then 15 minutes to see if we can come up with a solution. We're starting late, so the times will be compressed. So if we're doing the introductions in the first few minutes, we try to do this very quickly. Name, role, company, and what you're looking for. So for example, I'm Josh Rosenthal, community manager at Around, and I'm looking for other leaders at startups to join Around, either for a solve session like this, or we're preparing yet another type of content, which is called a demo destruction, where some person that deals on the commercial side will come in and give a demonstration of their product, and everybody else tries to make them cry live on camera. Well, try to go and give them useful feedback, but the rule is they can't cry in front of you. But so what's the next thing that we're going to go and do? So let me introduce myself. I am Josh Rosenthal. I'm the ex-founder of CloudSploit, where I grew and bootstrapped from $40 a month to a very okay exit using only customer success-led growth. So that is my specialty at this point, customer success-led growth, especially for those technical startups. And I do this under the consultancy of Replexus, where I am looking for Series A startups to help. So moving on to the next, who I do want to introduce is a gentleman that I've had the pleasure of sitting down with at coffee shop in Madrid, Almog. He is the founder of TandemTrace. So Almog, I want to give you a couple bites of the apple. Go and introduce yourself, maybe in that same style that I gave just a moment ago. And then, of course, we're going to go and focus on the topic of today, which is going to market in the United States from afar. So
sounds good. Sounds good. Can you hear me good?
Hearing you well.
All right. So the short version of myself today is like I'm a CEO and founder of TandemTrace. It's a cybersecurity solution. We are building AI agents for security operations and SOC and threat hunting. Technically speaking, 25 years in R&D, software developer since the age of 15. Back then, we didn't have any AI. We didn't have any cloud code. You had to do it manually. I think that at this point, it's kind of not even obvious to say that we probably are the last generation of software developers. I think that it's kind of this year kind of announced that we are the last generation, but for me, it's very cool because we can achieve stuff much faster. Right now, based in Madrid, in Spain. I moved to Spain 2 years ago, where I met you, Josh. And then Europe is a new playbook for me in terms of challenge. One of my challenges for the next 1 to 2 years would be when and where and how to do the go-to-market for US. I'm familiar, like I have a background selling in the US, cybersecurity products, but when you are early stage startup from Europe, for me, I feel like 2026, 2027 would be like very challenging, or at least I'm hesitating in terms of how to do it, when to do it, how much resources, key steps to do the go-to-market in the US. And so this is kind of the short version, and I will elaborate, of course, more in the next few minutes.
Excellent. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to stop presenting. Just why don't you pick it up from here, and away we go.
You want me to share the screen or?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to stop presenting. It's going to be you and I for just a moment, and then you just show us what you got.
Right. So I'll start with a little bit, just introduction of the company. Let's see if you can you see my screen, Josh?
I cannot. Let's see what's going on here. I don't think that we're getting it over to. There we go. Looks like we're getting it all this time. All right. So the floor is yours.
Right. So TandemTrace, as I was saying before, is an early stage startup, cybersecurity oriented. Originally, I'm from Israel, the nation of cybersecurity entrepreneurs. And we are 1 year old and a half, early stage startup. We are dealing with very deep tech kind of solution. It includes AI, data, cybersecurity, inside one of the biggest military operations of cybersecurity, which is SOC, where you get all the security telemetry data, where you need to figure out very quickly if it's true positive, false positive. So it's one of the backbone of any cybersecurity aspect in the company. So right now we're a small team. Most of us are from Spain. We have like sales presence in Europe in strategically 3 countries: Spain, Portugal, and France. They're doing well. The sales, of course, as an early stage startup, you have its own challenges, but it's going well in terms of Europe. And then a little bit, maybe, I presented myself, but should I move to the challenge or speak more about myself, the company, Josh, or do you want to play it?
Yeah, why don't we jump into the challenge? Because one of the things I want to be doing is focusing on helping the companies just like yours go and get to market. So now that you've set up what you are and who you are, why don't we actually start with your ICP? Who is it that you're trying to reach from afar? That is, we know that we're talking about North America. So
for sure.
Yeah.
So the ICP right now divided
what you've done and why you've done that and things that you've thought about doing.
Right. So what we did in the US and North America right now, we did like initial test with SANS. SANS is a well-recognized kind of cybersecurity training and awareness and many other aspects. So we did some mutual webinar. We got some nice leads, potential leads at least. It's not very focused, it's all over the place in terms of US, and it's very, hard and challenging to. US is not like I can go directly to all US. You need to be focused at some point or another.
It's a big area.
It's a big area, 20 times bigger than Spain. I was shocked that it's such a big place. So we didn't really invest yet sufficient amount of resources in North America. Because we are in Europe, we spend our time in Europe with our local partners. So right now, in terms of sales, we are kind of either doing direct sales or using local partners that have their own trust. This is kind of the go-to-market sales in a way. And then in the US, like the challenge of, even if we raise the next funding round, which would be like $5 or $7 or even $10 million, then knowing the competitive landscape and knowing the noise and the customer acquisition cost in the US, even if I raise like 5 or 7 million, it's not concern, my main kind of hesitation and thoughts is like, should I go even up to 7 million, 10 million funding route coming from Europe? Would it be the right timing to go after the US market, or to make it on, low ratio, low resources, where most of the efforts are still being spent on Europe, and some of it would be spent in the US, but not go immediately all in or more than 50% threshold in the US. So I would say that this is like the first kind of thought, like when and how, and what capacity. If I should wait to, like a bit more Series A, Series B kind of resources funding, and then start reaching out and do heavy lifting in the US, or maybe start small, very focused strategically somewhere in the US, and then when the resources, the heavy lifting resources coming, maybe to push more pressure there. Like that's kind of the first thought. Should I explain all the challenges, Josh?
Yeah, keep going.
Right. So thinking about when you think about the ICP, you mentioned ICP, for example. Our ideal customer would be either MSSP. MSSP are like managed service provider for cybersecurity. Today, these markets are getting bigger because most companies, especially mid-size and below, are not going to have their own internal security operation teams. So they are simply outsource it to a managed service provider. And then for managed service provider, we are providing enormous amount of value because many of the aspects, and ideally in the future, most of the aspect of the managed services are going to be delegated to AI agents. So MSSP and MDR are one ideal customer. We are still targeting mid-size market, whether it's MSSP or enterprise. In terms of maturity of the product, compliance, stuff like that, we're still like mid-size. And then the second ICP would be like the straightforward enterprise, assuming he has the security operation internal. Then of course they will get huge amount of value from the product as well. But it's like the main difference. Sometimes enterprise mid-size doesn't have internal security operations, and then the target would be MSSP. And if they have security operations, then this enterprise or the company organization can use for sure TandemTrace product. So these are kind of the two ICPs. And then what works for us, and the way I see it in terms of sales, even if we go to the US, thinking about even the biggest companies like Palo Alto, CrowdStrike, most of the sales in cybersecurity are being done by achieving good partnerships.
That's very popular.
It's like pretty much the only way to go scale. Like even if you have lots of resources, onboarding or investing a lot of resources on local internal salespeople, SDR, BDR, it might be more challenging to scale up very fast or horizontally to the entire continents. So most of the companies, at least from my experience, is like they are doing it using partners. So I'm assuming that it might be, very similar in the US. And then again, it's getting back to how can we find these good local partners in our stage, because we are not CrowdStrike yet. CrowdStrike has their own incentive, and it's very safe in a way to sell CrowdStrike. And so what I found in Europe is like these unique boutique local partners that they have incentive, they like to sell different stuff, they have a diverse portfolio. So it's kind of another challenge, like how to find these local partners in the US. So these are like the main challenges, and I'll let you kind of guide me through this conversation.
Sure. Hey, look, if I knew it, if I had all the answers, I wouldn't be here doing this, man. I'd be retired on a beach drinking umbrella drinks. But but since we're both stuck here, let's go and talk about some of the ways that you've gone and engaged some of the previous or the existing ICPs. And so I assume, one of the things I talk about quite often is that your first 5 customers are in your cell phone. You're probably your next 10, 20 are on your LinkedIn. Obviously, your mileage may vary, but this often comes from experienced industry people becoming entrepreneurs, whether you've been entrepreneur over and over again or simply spent time in industry before going forward. And that would describe you, right? You've gone and built a name for yourself. You have a solid track record, and then here you are going and doing exactly this. Have you been able to go and reactivate any of the relationships that you've had from previous companies that you've been basically doing this for. And what has your reception been?
Yeah, so I would say that you're right about, the first contact and the first early adopters. It would be like, it's a lot around trust, of course, and people needs to know you before they know the product.
Yeah,
Um,
especially in the
you're
beginning.
not, especially in the beginning. So I think that, previously, maybe I didn't mention in the introduction, but I already built a company, startup company, cybersecurity one,
That's
in
right.
2014. In 2014, and we sold it with different co-founders. We sold it in 2018 to Symantec.
Yeah.
We learned a lot about the US. This is like what I said before, like even if you raise 5 million, what I felt like, even if you raise 5 million, 7 million, US is very challenging, very competitive market.
Right.
You need to go like with bigger guns in a way.
You do.
So I think that you have the luxury. I think that up to 10 million, I've spoke with previous salespeople I worked with in the US. The impression I got, especially today with this noise in the market, like almost any vertical, it's not just cybersecurity, very special around, but there is a lot of noise. And so I would say that focus would be like critical when you have like low resources, like 5, 7, 10 million. This is one impression I got, which means we need to find one state. I wouldn't say even two states, like in terms of sales in the US, and then like try to narrow it down and find these partners only in one state. I'm not sure if it's going to be New York, Washington, I don't know, California. We need to find this one particular specific state where you have some partners who can help us, even to have boots in the ground, of course, with one person or two people in the US. But again, not to be so broad, like focus when you think about product, of course, it's critical, but also like go to market and early kind of traction in any other countries. So I would say that my previous salespeople in the US kind of emphasize the fact that it's even noisier today than it used to be in 2014,
Sure.
2015.
Vibe coding, and even if you're not vibe coding, being able to go and extend the capability of an experienced developer.
Definitely. So AI taking all the attention. We are in the AI game, so it's good for us, like in terms of we're building AI agents on a specific vertical. One of the research that I found, and I feel it the same way, that still vertical, like sometimes there is a notion where you can connect N8N or some, to build your own in-house solution. What almost all the latest research found that vertical players are still winning in terms of quality and performance and anything within the specific verticals. So whether it's sales, it's marketing, cybersecurity, if you are very specific vertical, at this point, the research found that we are winning in terms of performance and quality and results. So we are in the AI game, but still, like there are plenty of other AI agents for SecOps in the space. So this is like in a way another challenge. Like how can you differentiate yourself? This noise. How would you find a good position and messaging around some a little bit different stuff than the other competition is saying? So this is a little bit about that. And of course, we are leveraging any of the team members is leveraging the previous experience, the previous contacts, previous people we worked with. Yeah, so it's like kind of working for us early days. Like this is the first initial traction that we got, like people who knows us. But we're in a kind of post phase where, okay, we are getting traction beyond, the people on our WhatsApp, of course.
Yeah.
We are working, we want to establish like good local partnership to work in the next 1 to 2 years. And 2026, we are going to move forward with the next funding round. It's going to be one of the critical challenges or the critical decisions of if to spend time and resources on the US or not. Because Europe, you can go to good traction and revenues. So it's like a big decision for us if to spend, the time, money, boots in the ground, local partners. It's a lot of work to do in order to go to the US.
Yeah, for sure. Because people are going to go and give the generic advice, going in and creating reference customers that you have geographically anywhere. before going and to a bigger market. And my time in Spain, this is the story here over and over again. One of the things that I talk about is something you've already said is Israel as basically export nation, right? The companies are set up to go abroad, and it seems like you're positioning yourself in two, with two great geographies. One coming from Israel with the track record and know-how, and two moving to Spain, where there is also awareness of cybersecurity, a growing group of people and niche there, but also the cost of personnel is a bit lower, so you're able to go and get that benefit, as well as being multilingual. Let's leave that to the side because we haven't brought it up. But this being said, one of the things you talk about is going to America geographically based, rather than just saying, hey, anyone in North America, let's go. This being said, have you looked into engaging with any of the smaller organizations that might not be in a very popular state? It is, there's MSPs all over the United States. The United States is a very large area, and maybe you stay out of Silicon Valley for now. Go get lead gen from from people that are in work being done from anywhere in Spain with the US phone number. Off you go for appointment setting. Has that ever been a consideration?
So I was speaking with two people from similar profile that you mentioned, but specifically in universities.
Right.
So it's like unknown university in a way from the US to different states. And I mean, it's a great idea, but the challenge is like, how can you find these unknowns in a way?
That's right.
It's like I don't mind about their lack of familiarity with the world. It's like more about how to find these unknown
That's right.
people in companies, but definitely it's a good idea for sure.
You're digging around for that that needle in the haystack because it's not known. Luckily, data today, going and finding these organizations today is a whole lot easier than ever before. Being able to search, even if you were to go on LinkedIn with Sales Navigator and see if you can find the people, those either, well, we already talked about the first degrees, but maybe even the second degrees. Next being said, have you gone and worked on the PR angle? Being able to get in and mention in industry magazines that are English speaking, just because of the North America strategy.
I'm thinking about, I wouldn't call it like the Gartner strategy or PR strategy, but I feel like these paid PR, paid Gartner, paid, media consulting companies be less converting. Like,
it would be awareness rather than conversion. You're exactly right.
It's like a luxury for companies like CrowdStrike, Microsoft, SentinelOne, stuff like that. On the PR level, it might get you some
Right.
kind of awareness, but I feel like, I mean, I don't have like a clear decision if I want to spend my money on this paid.
Sure. I always believe in revealing your biases, and the reason I'm bringing this up is one of the early presenters in the series of Actionable Intelligence, where we had experts come in and speak about this. One of the first presentations was Joel Strauss, Strauss Media, who is also in Madrid. So I guess ultimately I'm giving him a plug right now. That was not the intention, but clearly it is the action. That was one of these directions that he obviously would talk about. Is just growing and creating the awareness. So we've talked about going directly to market with these what Steve Case wrote a book about the rise of the rest. That is, too often in the United States, we look at the coasts, west and east, and he's saying, hey, there's a bunch of activity going in inside of the United States. This being said, understandably, there is some discussion about working with the United States. At this point, I think we've all heard some of those concerns all over the world. Instead of United States as your next market, what have you done in Canada, for example? Or just since you're from dealing from Spain, one of the benefits of Spain is a bilingual workforce, and therefore you open up Mexico, and even if you go further south from there.
Yeah. So we have some engagement with South America. I mean, it's something that would require different resources, but definitely reasonable. I mean, Canada is like, I don't think that I have any experience. Like, I got some leads from the SANS event,
Right.
but I feel like it would make sense to invest like more resources on the South America kind of countries, Latin America in general. Mexico, you mentioned it's one of them, but this is a very big market.
Yeah.
It's very popular among, Spanish entrepreneurs and Spanish startups because of the language, of course. And I have local people who speak the language, of course, natively, and are doing sales already. So we are thinking about this strategy as well. I mean, this is part of the combined decision eventually. We can go like Europe and South America, or we can lower the threshold around Europe and maybe go higher on North America, because this is part of the expectation of many other investors and
There we go.
maybe cybersecurity industry.
Yeah, in fact, that was one of these things I was going to go and touch on, is that, yes, while you are going and getting into the Americas, you are still going and likely dealing with, or I should say on average, dealing with organizations that are not as large as those you would find in United States and Canada. So, I think you just said it best. Europe and Central and South America, sure, but that's not going and getting to the problem that you're talking. While it does fit the conversation we're having now, which is go to market from afar, it is not fitting the conversation of getting into the United States.
Yeah.
So
I think that, again, like in terms of narrative, it makes sense. Since I have a little bit experience with startups, I would say that no VC would blame me not going after North America up to 10 million funding. Like it would make sense to expand in Europe. I mean, we are international and global company from day one. We sell in a couple of countries. Israel is one of them.
Sure.
Spain, France, Portugal. It's like we are not like Spanish speaking only.
Right.
So we have this kind of credibility that we manage to sell beyond Spain and Latin America.
Right.
If we would believe that the customer acquisition cost makes much more sense in terms of ROI and possibilities than North America, then we would do it, and maybe keep doing only opportunistic or cherry picking in the US in a very focused options that we might have. I think that one of the ways to do it, I'm looking on different companies, not specifically competitors, but also like other from cybersecurity. I think that product marketing still working well, like people who knows how to speak this language, how to speak, cybersecurity, how to present very well, how to speak about the product. We call it a little bit an influencer, but also like it's a lot around content. It's a lot around credibility about the product, what we found, what our research found. So I think that product marketing is something that I'm really keen to have resources to have like 1 to 2 people to spend time only on, speaking about the product, speaking about our research, because one of my disadvantages, like I don't have time to speak and share more about what we built and what we do on the research level. And we have like lots of fantastic stuff to share, and you need like dedicated people for that, and people who can share the message much better than me.
Yeah.
So I think that 2026 will do it for sure, the product marketing, influencing stuff.
Not to put too fine a point on it, and I know that we're moving beyond our intended time, but one of the other ways that, I don't know if you've experimented this as well, is looking for those that either are multinational companies that are multinational, by size or multinational by the geographic spread of their employees. To say, hey, wait, they already have reference to the United States, whether it's partners or direct sales. I don't know if that has been a strategy. I think of it, both you and I coming from the cybersecurity side, we think of the pivot attack, right? Come in for one, but in reality, you're going somewhere else. It's a little bit of a two-step, but I didn't know if that one was this. And therefore, one of the points I'm making is just to go. And so, since I'm plugging previous, presenters, I'm thinking about Christine when she was talking about her account-based marketing strategy and being able to highly define who it was you're going for and working there. So here we go. Second plug on actionable intelligence. Christine Carrick, look for her presentation in the past.
Sounds like an action item for sure.
Well, very good. Hey, the idea of these times is just to go in and sit down, have everybody jump in with ideas. We are for sure in the holiday season. Some of the EU experts that I've invited have already gone onto their holiday vacations, and I should have thought about that when we scheduled this time. Here I was thinking that it was going to be easier because there'd be fewer distractions. Alas, I think I still have a bit to learn. Almog, thank you very much for coming in. Thank you very much for bearing your soul and talking about an actual business problem. For sure, we're going to be going and presenting this to the A-Round community, and let's see if there's anybody who comes into any of the streams, stream on YouTube, stream on LinkedIn, as well as the media that we go and present in. Hopefully we can make some type of connection, because that is the intention of A-Round. Entrepreneurs such as yourself, finding collaboration with other entrepreneurs such as yourself, or some of these other specific experts like those that I've ended up plugging, as well as others. So thank you very much.
Sure. Sounds good. Thanks for the time, Josh.
Take care.
And speak to you soon.
All right. Happy holidays and happy new year.
Happy holiday, man.
Gregorian calendar.